So after a few tournaments, when we've seen in this case the player Amélie Van Impe, we observed a few things. We noticed that in her way of serving, we noticed that the percentage of first serve was really low. And we saw that the intensity of the serve was also a problem. So we started to pay attention to those things, and we decided, okay, we need to have a look on the serve. And the best way we can do it, I mean, here at the Federation we spoil, we have always cameras and we have quite a few gadgets to use. But I understand that for the normal people or in the clubs, it's a little bit more difficult, it's an expensive tool to have. And my recommendation is always that we can always use a smartphone. A simple smartphone will give you a good picture. And that will be giving you not only a picture, but you can always film in behind, on the side, or any side you want. And it's to take actually the video of the player, and that's what we did. We took frames from her backside, from the side, and from the front. Once you've done that, what's important is that you look at the key points. And the important thing is to identify the key points. What are the key points? It's very simple. The key points are specific points in a movement where you will observe for every player the same exact motion. For example, it's at the start. Another one would be at the moment that the player releases the ball. Another one would be at the lowest point when he bends his knees. The next one would be, for example, when the racket is the furthest away at the back. Another one will be the contact point, and when you get those points, then you can actually check if there is something that is not correct. If there is something that is not correct, you also can look at the face. That's why it's important that you film that correctly. So once that is established, you transfer the video on the computer and you identify those key points on the serve, which is in this case 8 key points that you look at. It's explained in the PowerPoint. And then you make a picture frame of it. So what you do is actually you freeze the video and you take like a picture. Like if you use QuickTime, it's very easy. You just make a copy paste and you will find the key point for every motion. And then you transfer to the photo folder. That's what I do. And you get this result. You get a result where you can have your player next to another player, and you can more or less look at the key points of both players. In the case of Amélie, for example, I will focus only on 2 key points. The one key point is at the moment that she releases the ball, okay, and the following one would be at the moment that she is at the lowest point with her knees. The first one, here we notice that she doesn't have the hands synchronized. She has actually a staggered motion compared to the player here, in this case is Speler, which has a little bit the same stance as her. That's why I chose him. And you see that he is more synchronized in his toss. And the following key point, which is to me the most important one, is that her racket lags behind. And the second most important one is how the angle between her upper body and the legs are too extreme. And that helped me to understand that this is one of the main reasons why not only she had a very little intensity or power on the serve, it lacks consistency. So it gave me directly a point to really work on. The next key point, yeah, there were things that are also important, like what the left hand does after the serve. With her, she moves away. That was a third point. And the second one is her reach, which is still okay, but it can be improved if we improve the previous key points. So that is basically what I did. This is the way, I think it's an easy way to really work with the players with a smartphone. You make it really a small video. You get the key points, and it works for every shot. Yeah? You have key points for your forehand, you have key points for the backhand. We will be quite happy if we can maybe make the key points for everybody, then they could have it at hand and can use them as a reference point in the future.
Okay, the first key point was a little bit check how staggered the serve was, and we see we improved it a little bit. Here they're moving more together. Okay, and the lowest point, the racket is, I'm gonna try to go, that is on more or less the lower point, so the racket has catch up a little bit more. It's not totally perfect yet. And the position of the body, the angle has been reduced, so that is probably the best or the most important one. We see that if I draw a line, for example, from the foot up to the hand, and I draw another line going with the head and the hip, you see that the angle is not so steep as it was in the presentation that we had.